Week 2 of the End Zone continues here on CBSSports.com, presented by TiVo, alongside Ian Eagle and Randy Cross. I'm Jason Horowitz. Each week you can catch it right here on CBSSports.com and on your TiVo DVR via TiVoCast. And this segment all about the injuries in Week 1. And Randy, we got to start with what you saw in Buffalo, the Kevin Everett situation, the backup tight end for the Bills, and of course everything that has developed there with his spinal cord injury. What was it like? I guess not watching it so much, but being there while they were tending to Kevin Everett on the field.
Well, it was obvious from the very beginning, guys, that this was going to be something very serious. And then it was only sort of augmented and emphasized when Dick Jauron gathered his team all together there by their own sideline and had a team prayer for their teammate. It was such a serious thing from the get-go. The news was so negative initially. I know you've got a lot of news about Kevin Everett, but I think everyone has to keep reminding themselves, just kind of say a prayer for the kid and hope everything continues to go well for him.
Yeah, highly emotional week in Buffalo, and yes, there is some optimism right now that Kevin Everett is going to at least have a chance to have a normal life. From a football standpoint, Randy lived it. It's something that's always in the back of your mind, but it's not something that you want to focus in on because you can't approach this game with fear. But as we know, there are these reminders along the way. This is a violent sport. Things like this can happen, and right now everybody has their fingers crossed that Kevin Everett is going to get out of this situation okay from the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, and Ian, you will be there in Pittsburgh this week, and obviously that'll be a situation that'll be talked about a lot with the Buffalo-Pittsburgh game. And, the Kevin Everett situation, obviously one that's a separate category for Week 1 injuries, and any time that happens in the NFL or any level of football, it's a different level of injury. But there were other injuries in Week 1. So
Major ones.
We'll put Kevin Everett aside because that is more of a life-threatening situation. But other injuries that affect the team on the field as far as major players going down for the season in Week 1. And you see the list. It's Coach Simpson's out for the year, which was also the game Randy was doing. Mike Brown, Jason Ferguson. Ian, you did the game. Jason Simmons is done for the year. Orlando Pace is a 7-time Pro Bowler. Left tackle, Mark Bulger doesn't have him anymore.
Randy, I always find this interesting that fans get so upset when there's a major injury in preseason. Basically the idea that coaches shouldn't be playing those players. So as a fan, do you feel better about it when it happens in Week 1 of the regular season? It's still the same result. The guy is lost for the year. The Orlando Pace one in particular.
Yep.
St. Louis had high hopes this year, Randy and Jason, that their offense was going to explode. Bulger with the new contract. Jackson now among elite players in the NFL. This Orlando Pace injury is a huge monkey wrench into their plans in 2007.
Well, it directly affects Steven Jackson and directly affects Mark Bulger and that offense that everyone had so many high hopes for. It's sort of like the young, improving defense. You talk about that Buffalo game. Losing Coy Wire to a banged-up knee and losing Coach Simpson for the year affects that defense and their maturity severely. But I think you bring up a great point. No one affects their side of the ball more than losing an Orlando Pace.
There are other injuries as well, and not to be New York-centric here, but we're in New York, and there's a lot going on here in the Big Apple. And you got the Giants and the Jets, and reports out of the Newark Star-Ledger that Kellen Clemens will start for the Jets this week. And, Randy, you'll call that game. And obviously with the Giants, you've got Eli Manning's situation. Brandon Jacobs won't play. OCU Minora won't play. It's unbelievable how can you guys remember a week or at least a Week 1 where you lost so many guys for a long period of time, all within a span of 7-8 hours?
Opening weeks, about every year it happens. We all tend to kind of forget about it. I think you're looking at two different contrasting things, but the new quarterbacks, if there are indeed new quarterbacks for the New York teams, have something in common. If Jared Lorenzen has to play for the Giants, he's facing a very good, though young, fast, active defense for the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are now a defensive-oriented team, and if Kellen Clemens has to play in Baltimore, what else can you say? That's the Baltimore Ravens. That's a little bit of a mismatch.
Well, we know that there were some Jet fans in Week 1 against New England that wanted to see Kellen Clemens get his shot as the quarterback of the Jets. Now, looks like you're going to get your chance. This is the wrong defense to break into the league against in your first start for Kellen Clemens. He has talent, though, having watched him in preseason, but preseason, that's not tangible. That's not enough to go on to say it's going to translate into regular season success.
I would put my arm around Thomas Jones if I was whoever starts a quarterback and say, buddy, I hope you have a great game because we really need this running game today.
Well, Thomas Jones, Leon Washington, they're all going to have to do something in that ball game. All right, Randy Cross, Iron Eagle here on the End Zone presented by TiVo. Guys, thank you very much. We're going to say goodbye to Randy, but we'll see him in week 3 of the End Zone. Randy, thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, folks, stick around. Tune into the next segment. Plenty more to come here on the End Zone presented by TiVo. You can rewatch this or any story from this week or the rest of the season that we've done. It's on demand, available both on CBSSports.com and on your TiVo DVR via TiVo Cast. I'm getting better at saying the end of that thing.
You are getting better at that.
We'll continue in just a second.
Practice makes perfect.